What's happening here? I've gathered some wax crayons, colour pencils, lunch wrap paper, kitchen utensils, recycled cardboard, linen fabric, a basket and even a yoga mat and a small rock. What am I doing with all this? Well, I'm going to make some frottage art. So what is frottage and how is all this going to help? Frottage is the process of creating a rubbing of a textured surface using a pencil, a wax crayon or Conté crayons. Nothing too soft. For instance, I find most oil pastels and chalk pastels are too soft to create detailed textures. In this demonstration, I'm making a small sample rubbing from each object I've gathered just to see what they look like. I'm also experimenting with a little layering. There are two simple ways of doing this. You can do one rubbing and then slightly rotate or twist the paper and rub again for a twisted glitch effect. And you can do this in the same color or contrasting colors. Another layering method is to place rubbings of two different textures on top of each other. Choose two textures that are going to contrast with each other, with the more open texture on top of the finer texture. Notice how I'm using thin lunch wrap paper. By using thin or lightweight paper such as lunch wrap or tissue paper or rice paper, it's possible to capture very subtle textures. Once I have created a quick sample sheet, I then create larger areas of each texture so that I have plenty of materials for making a collage. Thanks for watching this far. If you're new to my channel, consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future art lessons and art projects. Who invented frottage? Max Ernst, the German-American-French artist, invented this method in 1925. Truthfully, texture rubbing existed before Max Ernst invented it, but it was only used to make impressions or copies of monuments and gravestones. But Max Ernst saw its potential for making art. He is famous as a pioneer of two major 20th century art movements, Dadaism and Surrealism. He was also a self-taught artist and he loved experimenting with art materials, and this is how he invented frottage. Why did he think it was an interesting method? One of the simplest ways of explaining the 20th century avant-garde art movement, Surrealism, is to say that a group of like-minded artists were curious about the creative potential of the unconscious. They wondered what would happen if pictures could be made without the use of conscious, rational thought. They started experimenting by making surprising, chance, poetic, and intuitive image combinations that did not seem to follow any logical storyline, that instead looked like dreams or random ideas. What are some examples of how surrealists created these unexpected juxtapositions? Collage was a favorite medium for surrealists. What they liked about collage was the ability to put things side by side in a picture that were not normally found together. In these ways, they created recognizable but illogical images. How do we use frottage? I have two simple frottage methods for you to try: Frottage Freestyle and Frottage Drawing. My Freestyle Frottage uses the rubbings I prepared earlier as the raw materials for a collage of a fish and an eel floating in the air past slender trees in the shape of butterfly nets above a landscape of bare, dry earth. Frottage Drawing uses a different technique. Here I have composed a simple head study using a combination of line drawing and different frottage patterns which I've created directly onto the drawing paper. Why don't you try these two frottage methods for yourself? Start by looking for objects and surfaces you think you could use for texture rubbings, and start sampling and experimenting.